I went back to work. I'd stayed off work for a while, and I went back to work. And a man came walking into my workplace one day, and he said, "We caught him." And I said, "Who?" And he said, "The guy that killed Jasmine." And I said, "How'd you find him?" He said he was in jail, and he was bragging about it. And his cellmate turned him in. Okay. So I said, So he says, "And we're going to trial, so you need to get ready for it." So I started getting my head wrapped around that. Now it became real again, okay? This is how it happens. It's too real, too real, too real. Oop, can't deal with it. Go somewhere else. And then you get your life going, and then something comes along, and oop, here it is, right up in your face again. Too real, too real, too real. You can't ignore it. And then it's oop, back into life again. So it goes like in waves. But the tide goes out, and the waves don't come in so strong, and they don't come in so far. And then pretty soon, you start having a life again. And then it'll come at you again. Somehow, you know. I don't know. It just does. And so he says, the inspector, detective, he said, "You have to get ready for court." So then I started finding things out, like from Jasmine's boyfriend. He knew the guy that killed Jasmine. He used to be his friend. And he used to be in a gang, and they kicked him out of the gang. So this is a retaliatory shooting. And so I went into court, and I'm in this room, and victim assistance is there helping me. Not doing much, but other than just being a body, being there. In walks in a lady, and a young lady and a man. And the lady's got a baby. And they said, the girl said, "You're Jasmine's mom, aren't you?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "Well, you're getting ready to go into court too, huh?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "I am too." I said, "Okay, who are you?" She said, "I was Jasmine's best friend after she had moved out. And the morning that she was killed, I told her, 'Let's go to the movies.' And she told me, 'No, I got something else I gotta do.' And I said, 'Come on, let's go.' And she wouldn't go with me. And she said, and then later on that day, a guy named Red came to me and asked me to take him for a drive. And I said, 'Okay, where you want to go?' He said, back in the hood, back in the old neighborhood." She said, so I told him, "All right, hop in the back seat." She said, "My baby was in the back seat, Debbie. And he was sitting behind me. And he asked me to drive back into the old neighborhood. And I did," she said, "and the next thing I knew, I heard gunshots. He had pulled out a gun, and he had shot across the car that Jasmine was sitting in, and she got hit in the head with a bullet and killed." She said, "And that morning I tried to talk Jasmine into going with me." She said, "And I'm so sorry." She said, "I had no idea he was going to do that." And she broke down and cried, and I held her, and I said, "That's okay, girl. You know, sometimes stuff just happens, and we got no control over it." I said, "There's no way you would want to hurt Jasmine." She said, "No, I didn't know he was going to do that. He just told me he wanted to go see his old friends. I didn't know he was going to shoot up the place." I said, okay. You know, and I said, "Try and forgive yourself." And then this young man walks up to me all dressed up nice with a tie and everything, and he says, "Hi, my name's David." I said, "Well, who are you, and what are you doing here?" And he said, "I was in the hood, stoned, drunk, high as I could get on as much as I could buy." He said, "And I was walking out between two houses, and this guy Fernando came running up and grabbed me. And he said, 'Get in the car now and hold my girlfriend.'" We called her fiance. And he said, "She's been shot." And David said, and I sat down in the front seat, and Jasmine was between me and Fernando, and I was holding her, and her head was on me, and she was bleeding. He said, and she kept saying, I love you, Fernando. I love you, Fernando. Fernando, I love you. She said, and then at one point she just said, I love you. And she stopped talking. He said, and I found out what happened. And it turned my whole life around. He said, I got my tattoos removed. I went back into ministry, and I became a counselor for young people that are in gangs that want to get out and don't know how. He said, and I help them get out now. And my whole life has turned, and I'm clean, I'm sober, and I'm back on track. And I got to tell you, thank you. Jasmine did that for me, because I saw if that could happen to her, it could happen to me. And I said, all right. And then I went into court, and I told him, thank you for sharing. And I went into court, and this had never happened before in court. Red was sitting down over here. The jury, it was a jury trial, it was over here. The judge was where y'all sitting, and where I was supposed to sit was right here. And I had gotten permission from the judge to close my eyes when I walked in and walked up to the seat, the witness stand, and to have a board that I could use. And the judge said, well, why are you doing that? And I said, Red took her away from me in life, and I don't want his face in my memory and my dreams. I said, I don't want to see the man that killed my daughter. And they said, okay. So I walked in, I had somebody walk me up, and I had my eyes closed. And when I got up there, I had a board next to me like this, and he was sitting on the side, and I had the board in my hand, and I held it like this so I couldn't see him. I just vaguely saw an outline of him one time when I opened my eyes and did like this, but I didn't look at him. And I told him what Mario had told me, that he had seen him do it, that he didn't know why he did it, but he saw him do it. Fernando told me that he had seen Red do this, and that he knew him from back when he was in the gangs. I said, did you see his hand, did you see him sitting in the car? He said, yes. I said, did you see his hand out the car holding a gun? He said, yes. I said, you saw the hand and the gun and him in the back seat, and you saw and you heard the shots, and you know it was him? And he said, yes. So there it went. And I told that to the jury. And that Jasmine was a good girl. And so Red got 37 to life in Pelican Bay. And that's all I need to say about him. As Forrest Gump says, that's all I need to say about that.